Hello. Today I will be discussing about the Israel-Palestine conflict. As you know, Israel locates in Middle East, and there are also Palestinian people who are living in Israel. When we look at general picture of Israel and Palestine, before World War II, the land of Palestine was inhabited by Palestinian Arabs. There were 80% of the population was Muslims and 15% Christians and less than 5% were Jewish. Jewish refugees arrived in Palestine with a banner proclaiming, "The Germans destroyed our families and homes. Don't you destroy our hopes." So before coming to Palestine, they were begging Palestinian people, "Please accept us because Hitler killed us and we need your help." They were begging Palestinians. This happened several times during the war, after the war, before the war. Palestinians, they accepted them. These four different maps shows you the Palestinian laws of land from 1947 to present. In 1947, as you can see, 99% of the population is either Palestinians, Arabs, and also Arab Christians. Jewish population was less than 5%. In 1947, when you look at after the UN Partition Plan, as you can see, white area is the Israeli land and the green area is Palestinian land. The small part on the west side, you can see Gaza, and right side, you can see West Bank. And in 1949 to 1967, as you can see, the West Bank and Gaza became smaller. And present, Gaza on the left side, you can see no changes since 1949. And unfortunately, West Bank, you can see, is very small, tiny area left when we compare the 1949 to present. After World War II, as you know, Hitler killed many Jewish people, and UN gave the Jewish people 50% of the Palestine territory. Jews were 30% of the population and owned only 7% of the land, and they called in 1947 Jewish state Israel. 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Six-Day War, another name. 90,000 European trained soldiers possessing modern weaponry and 30,000 ill-equipped, poorly trained Arab soldiers, and Israel won the war in 6 days. After the war, in 1948, Israel conquered 78% of the Palestine. 1 million refugees mostly came to US, Europe, or Jordan. Every city, river, and hill received a new Hebrew name. And after the war, they denied the existence of Palestine. In 1897, the World's Zionist Organization, founded by Theodore Herzl, and then in 1917, Balfour Declaration, UK gave permission Jewish people to settle in Palestine, and many immigrants, Jewish immigrants, came to Palestine. Start coming actually. In 1946, as you can see, the Jewish immigrants, the green areas, started to settle in Palestine. And in 1947, UN Partition Plan, as you can see, the yellow area is Palestinian territory and green area is Israeli territory. And after the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, Jewish community declared its independence, and the other Arab nations Egypt, Jordan, Syria, they attacked Israel, but Israel won the war. Even though there were several crises, Suez Crisis in 1956 and another war, Six Days War in 1967. All Arab states, they attacked Israel, but Israel won the war again. And present 2012, you can see Gaza the same, no changes since 1948, and West Bank is tiny territory left. Israelis, they continue to settle in West Bank. These are the sample of one of the house settlements, Jewish settlement in West Bank. 279 illegal Israeli settlements across the West Bank and East Jerusalem, servicing over 850,000 Israeli settlers, and they increase building houses in West Bank. When we look at this chart, you can see, according to Human Rights Watch, Israel, which calls itself a Jewish state, is committing crimes against humanity of apartheid or persecution against Palestinians. Overall population is 6.8 million Jewish populations, and Palestinians 6.8 is the same. In Israel, in blue area, you can see 5.8 million Jewish people and 1.6 million people that are the Palestinians, citizens of Israel. In Gaza, there is no Israeli population, and overall 2.1 million Palestinians, they live there. When we look at the West Bank, 2.7 million. Currently, it's close to 3 million Palestinians and 463,000 Israeli settlers. And also Jerusalem. We have West Jerusalem and East Jerusalem. As you can see, West Jerusalem, 349,000 Israelis and only 4,500 Palestinians. East Jerusalem, 345,000 Palestinians and 220,000 Israelis. The West Bank, it is supposed to be only Palestinians population, but every single day we can see the Israeli population is increasing in West Bank. During the Arab-Israeli War in 1948, it was captured by Jordan and annexed. It was under Jordanian rule, but after the 1967 Arab-Israeli War, it became part of Israel again. And according to Oslo Accords in 1993, separated the West Bank into three categories. The first one is Palestinian controlled and administered. The second one, Israeli controlled by Palestinian administered. And the third one, Israeli controlled and administered, which constitute 17, 24, 59 of the territory respectively. This is an attempt to have the two groups cooperate. Demography of Israel, 80% is Jewish settlements and 20% Palestinians. When you look at the demography of Palestine, it's 91% and 9% Israeli Jewish settlers. When we compare the military comparison, you can see there's a huge difference. More than 3,900, you can see main battle tanks, Palestinian, 0. Combat aircrafts for Israel is 438. Palestinians, they have 0. Artillery, 1542 for Israel, 0 for Palestine. And military expenditures is more than $10 billion for Israel, and Palestine is 85 million. And official active forces is 167,000 for Israel and 35,000 for Palestine. When we look at this from Jerusalem Post editorial, we can argue with the Palestinians about who's to blame, but about who's suffering worse. There is no argument. There are destitute nations living in an elaborate prison under the guns of Israeli army. This is the one of the generals from Israel. They wrote in the Jerusalem Post editorials. In this map, you can see the red areas are the Israeli settlements. Every day it's increasing. They're not supposed to build houses there, but every single day they are building new houses. According to Article 49, Fourth Geneva Convention, international humanitarian law prohibits an occupying power from transferring citizens from its own territory to the occupied territory. The Israeli settlements are illegal according to international law. President Bush, he said in 2002, Israeli settlement activity in the occupied territories must stop. Former Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell, every American administration, going back to President Carter and including President Reagan, President Bush, President Clinton, and the current President Bush, have opposed the policy of government of Israel on settlements. But unfortunately, nobody is listening, US presidents or any other international community. They continue building settlements in the West Bank. When we look at Gaza Strip, it's a tiny territory. It's more than 2 million people live in this territory. 65 kilometers wide, 6 meters high, and several meters deep. This is the wall around Gaza Strip. Israel built it, very huge wall. They cut the communication from the world. Unfortunately, there is not only a border fence. After border fence, as you can see, hourglass fence, and then underground wall, and tower for detection and warning. Here, it's really, and then this is the Israel territory. So there is no way to cross the border. They don't want any people from Gaza. They come to Israel and work. Another map for you to understand how deep the wall the Israelis built. As you can see, underground concrete barrier, dozens of meters deep, and above ground concrete wall. So, for the more than 2 million Palestinians who have been living in the tight siege in Gaza since 2006, Israel's new high-tech separation wall has turned the enclave into the world's largest open-air prison. Unfortunately, the people, not only Israel, they blockade, but also Egypt. They don't let people, they go to Egypt and work. This is really hard condition for those people. This is end of my presentation. I will go and give you more information about Palestinian territory, Gaza, West Bank, and Israel in my future videos. Thank you. Have a nice day.